Okay, we start off with this here. Here you got the actual weight of the freight car in kilos, and down here 20 tons. That's the braking effort of the handbrake or parking brake. It has a red line around it. That's because the car's been fitted with the new type of plastic brake shoes. So the braking effort is really what it takes to move or hold the car. Basically, if the vehicle has 20 tons of braking effort, it takes more than 20 tons of pushing or pulling on the car to get it rolling. That's how much the brake can hold on a level truck. Here you find linked over buffers of the car. It's 19.9 meters. That little symbol indicates that you have a lifting point in front if you only want to lift one side of the car up the front, basically. So then you got 52 BG. 52 is the European country code, and BG again where it's from and the company, and you got the rail car number. And here you got the data, how much load you can have in the freight car. Now it goes to A, B, C and D and can continue on. Different trucks have different load restrictions in different countries, that kind of thing. The S indicates for high speed, Schnellfahrten, that's 100 km per hour. So truck category A, it's 40.6 tons, B 48.6, C 56.6. Okay, here's another good example. You get category A, B, C and D. S, Schnellfahrten, high speed, 100 km per hour, generally speaking, at 68 tons, 80, 95, 107. The car has also been cleared for 120 km per hour. Sometimes you find the double S letter there instead of the 120 at 0 tons, so it's empty. But there are also cars that can be loaded. You have the weights down here then. That S may not appear at all then. That means the car is only clear for 80 km per hour. But it could also be a 90 in that place, which means 90 km per hour. That kind of thing, you know. So S, generally speaking, 100 km per hour, double S, 120 km per hour. Or you just find the number there. If there's nothing there, it's 80 km per hour. RGS, that has to do with the freight car type. Here you got an indication on what kind of grade you can hold the car with the handbrake applied only. 2.83%. And of course you got the handbrake wheel. Here you got the information, the brake type, KA, GP. GP means you can set the brake either to G or P position. KA is the brake type. LL indicates low friction, low noise, because the car has been fitted with the new type of plastic brake shoes. Now here in that lever you can set the brakes on P or G position. G, the brakes take a little bit longer to respond to increase or release. P is a little bit faster. Now that is usually done to avoid slack action. Usually you have the lever in position P on long freight trains, because you want to have some kind of a delay. So the car, because every car has a different brake characteristics, the response different, and you want to avoid slack action. When you apply the brakes, that on car just certainly brakes quicker and faster than the other car, and they just be pulling the couplers or hitting the buffers, you know. You want to avoid slack action. Here you got another important lever for empty or load. You want to set the brakes for empty or load. Empty, you have less braking effort because you want to avoid the wheels from sliding and you get flat spots, so that's why you got the lever empty or load. Now a lot of modern freight cars have that automatically done. That is usually indicated up here right beside the brake type with the letter A. It basically means it's a European standard freight car. That shows you the entire length of the car without the buffers, and that shows you the distance from bogie center to bogie center, or if it's just a two-axled car, from axle to axle. So that's what's called a bogie, or in the US a truck. Here in Germany, Drehgestell. Here again we got lifting points for the freight car and an earth strap indication. So you're supposed to have an earth strap between the body of the car and the truck. So we have the indication for the last major overhaul of the freight car. 23/11/2017 was the last major overhaul it has. Of course it still goes to regular inspections, and it is good for 6 years. So in 6 years time it has to go to a major overhaul again. And here same story again, that just looks a little bit different. So major overhaul, it's good for 6 years, and the date. So here's something again on a different car. Okay, for 6 years inspection overhaul, where or who has done it, and the date. Okay, here's something else you might find interesting. CT, it just means channel tunnel, so the car is clear to cross the channel to the UK, because in the UK or Britain you have a lot smaller clearance than the rest of the European country. That's why CT. And the anchor here on the side, it means that the freight cars are suitable for being carried on a ferry. So you have special hooks on the cars that you can use chains and ropes to secure the freight car onto the ferry to ship it across the ocean. You have a look at this tanker. So we start off with that information sticker here. It basically informs you about the danger of climbing onto a freight car. The electric shock hazard if you have overhead gantry wire. Here we got a typical tanker panel with the basic information again. Your weight chart, A, B, B2, C, S, 100 kilometers per hour with that load, and even if it's now empty, it's 100 kilometers maximum, because there's no other information on it. The owner, Gattex Europe, same here. Again, same like you find on a standard freight car, like I mentioned in my first video. The handbrake can hold the freight car at a grade of 2.7% safely. This is a holding place for panels that usually informs you about the hazard material transport. And here you got something where you place your freight paper that tells you where that freight train is heading, where it's coming from basically, or the freight car is supposed to be heading. These hooks are actually not for lifting or securing the car, they're actually used on some facilities for pulling the freight cars to a certain location, for example with a rope or steel cable or chain, by means of a machine or a tractor. It has again the nowadays typical standard J25 bogie or truck. That's the new type of J25. It's made from welded steel, while earlier ones were made from cast steel. Again, length over buffers, 13.14 meters. Here, lifting point if you only want to lift one side of the car. And the lifting point when you want to lift the entire car. That gives you the wheelbase, axle from axle. Here you got the capacity in liters. Weight empty, kilograms. LL, low friction, low noise, because of the new type of plastic brake shoes and the type of brake. So basically like on any other freight car. Nur für Lebensmitteltransport, only for food products. Here again, when it had its last major overhaul or inspection, it's good for 6 years. Where and who has done it, and the date when it was done. Here we get a different version of releasing the brakes if they are applied on the yard. For example, if you and it's disconnected from the train and the air brakes are applied, you want to release the brakes, basically blow off the air from the brake cylinder. That's the handle you pull, and here we got our brake regulator and main air reservoir. That's not a symbol for earth tankers. Quite common to have a place where you can add an electrical safety earth, especially when transporting hazardous material. For example, you can here clamp some kind of an earth wire onto this to prevent any sparks or arcing while unloading or loading the tanker, especially when it's highly flammable liquids like petrol or gases. And that is a new type of brake shoe. It looks just a little bit different from the color. Reasonably new. The older type of brake shoes, they were made from cast iron. Like this is kind of a combination of metal and plastic. And here we got the main air brake cylinder. At the end of the truck we find this old boxcar, out of use. But as you can see, it has already got the data system for Europe that was introduced sometime in the early 70s. ABC 18.5 tons, 22.5, and the other one is 26.5, and below it is at S 18.5 and 22.5. It had its original major overhaul on the 7th of 5th 2001, and it has been expanded a few times. The last time at 07/05/2008, and here you can see the old cast iron brake shoes. Which still look pretty decent. This gives the information of the maximum wheel diameter is supposed to fit 920 millimeters max. Because this flat car we have, for example, this brake type, G or P position, automatic brake, and we got this information max 58 tons. Now that means the maximum braking force the brakes have, the air brakes. If the car weighs, of course, empty, 20 tons, you only got a maximum braking force of 20 tons. If you have the car loaded, let's say up to 90 tons, you only got 58 tons of braking effort. Again, LL, low friction, low noise. Okay, I hope you found that information interesting. If you have any questions about it, leave a comment below. I will try and answer it as soon as possible. Hope you liked it anyway. Stay healthy.